Okay, welcome everybody to today's event. I'm Jason Gumpert from MS Dynamics World. Really pleased to be here to host today's session about the Warehouse Triad, something I'm really looking forward to learning more about from our presenter today, Greg Pastorello. I'll let him introduce himself and really kick things off. But before we do that, just a couple of quick notes. We do welcome your questions. Please do look for the questions block in the webcast interface, and you can enter them at any time as we go. Greg will get back to you on those after the session ends. We're also recording today's event, so if you miss any part of it, we'll be making it on demand after today. So without any further delay, Greg, I'm going to hand things over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jason. Welcome to the Warehouse Triad, where we're talking about connecting people, process, and technology to help unlock potential in your D365 environment. What we're really going to showcase today is how we drive measurable ROI through these three pillars and how we can navigate and optimize your D365 environment to help you unlock features that you may not see today and help you transform your operations. As Jason said, my name is Greg Pastorello. I'm a senior account executive here. I help run our sales and solutions team for the Microsoft side. I've been in this business for over 15 years on the Microsoft side. Actually started as an AX12 tester, did some implementation consulting, moved into pre-sales architecture, and then finally moved over to the sales side to kind of enhance our solution selling business. I live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's a little bit chilly today, so you'll see me with a jacket on. And of course, yes, chilly for me is about 55 degrees. So looking forward to connecting with you all after this presentation and going through the Warehouse Triad. With that, this is just a brief agenda of what we're going to talk about today. I'll give you a brief introduction of who Envista is. Won't be a lot of information. I really want to get into the meat and potatoes of this presentation. We'll give you an intro to what the Warehouse Triad is, why we're here, what the operations assessment looks like to help optimize people, process, and technology. And then I'll back it up with a client example. So what was realized by one of our clients when they went through this warehouse operations assessment to align their people, process, and technology. So a little bit about Envista. We're not really just consultants. We have two arms of our business. Our Microsoft and enterprise technology side. And then we also have a full supply chain consulting team that focuses on things like warehouse assessments, facility designs, kind of aligning both the Microsoft side with what your processes look like and what your people look like. We've been around since about 2002, and we serve over 1,200 clients. And we kind of have our end-to-end approach, which helps with the cost savings from an organization. So not just looking at the Microsoft side of things, but how we optimize your Microsoft technology to match your process from your organization. We are a fast track Microsoft partner, and we do utilize that relationship with Microsoft to get access to the new features. And our specialty is really around advanced warehousing, which we'll talk a little bit about today. We'll have also some information about a D365 health check so that we can uncover some of your ROI today. A little bit more about our end-to-end capabilities. So again, we have a full supply chain strategy team. This is agnostic of your technology solution. It's really around how you operate in the warehouse. So a lot of times we'll go in and do facility and operations designs and optimization. Where we kind of just follow your employees, see how they operate, and where there's inefficiencies within the warehouse. We then make recommendations on how we can fix those processes, how we can train your people, and what technology solutions can be enhanced from that perspective. So it really allows us to go beyond just your ERP solution, but look at everything in your environment from people, process, and technology. We also have capabilities around automation, so robotics, automation, MHE, systems integration, and detailed engineering. And then we also have a full technology services team that does managed services, looks after things like Azure Cloud, public cloud, application management from the Dynamics side, and other applications. And we even have full device management capabilities within Envista as well. So like I said, I do not want to go too deep into who Envista is. I really want to get into what the Warehouse Triad is and how we can optimize people, process, and technology. So in today's market, we're seeing a lot of warehouse inefficiencies. It's costing our organizations millions of dollars in lost productivity and turnover. So what we're really going to talk about today is how D365, when optimized via the Triad, turns these challenges into opportunities. This means faster return on investment and strategic agility to how we can actually operate our organization. So as technology evolves and AI integrates into the warehouse systems, operational focus is shifting in response to persistent labor shortages. To remain competitive, we must reassess how we're using existing tools and where upgrades can bridge performance gaps. All too often, key capabilities within platforms like Microsoft Dynamics 365 go unused due to legacy thinking, such as we've always done it this way, or if it isn't broken, don't fix it. I think we've all said that at some point. So these mindsets can create blind spots, and that kind of delays our progress and limits our operational excellence. We want to empower our internal departments and offer support, cross-functional involvement to reduce these delays from the learning curve side of things. That's where we as a Microsoft partner can come in and align these processes to your technology solutions and make sure you're utilizing the features. I think there is a statistic out there that most warehouse implementations are only using 10 to 30% of the Dynamics features. And our goal is to kind of introduce what those features are to you and how we can optimize your environment to unlock potential within D365 and your organization. So what are the challenges that we're facing today? Warehousing faces over 35,000 unfulfilled jobs, and 90% of WMS implementations are missing advanced features. So we're looking at under a sub 99.6% inventory accuracy and rising costs. Though it sounds like that's a great number, we should always be striving for that 99.99% plus on the inventory accuracy, because even a 0.1% can reduce our operations and our throughput. We want to be able to optimize D365 to cut labor needs by about 15 to 20% to help address some of those challenges of not having about 35,000 workers today. So we've talked about what the Warehouse Triad is, why we're here. So let's get into what the people process technology is. Our solution is strategically aligning people, processes, and D365 technology. This framework delivers measurable ROI, reducing costs, having higher throughput, and scaling your operations to exceed expectations. We've helped some leaders and some organizations achieve over 30% productivity boosts within the first year, and we don't want to leave any additional value on the table. So I want you to kind of visualize your warehouse. I want you to think of the people that are working in it today. They're the foundation. The processes that you work on are your blueprint to executing business operations. And then technology, D365, is how we accelerate those processes and those people to enhance operations even further. When synced, we're looking at 20 to 40% gains. When we only focus on people or process or technology, we limit our efficiencies and where we can gain as an organization. Only when all three are connected together do we get the operational output that we're striving for as a large organization. So the human element. Your people are your biggest asset, but they're also your biggest risk. And with turnover at record highs, we want to focus on optimizations. Standard operating procedures, training, and culture building actually yield about 15% productivity lifts. Tie this to your D365 data for accountability, and you're lowering your training costs and retaining more of those employees, not seeing as much turnover. What we want to take a look at is how our workforce strategies are. So scheduling one of your employees to empower the entire team and driving bottom line results. People are truly the heartbeat of the distribution center. Their efficiency, adaptability, and engagement are paramount for executing these processes. Some things that these employees actually face are digital disruption, adapting to new technologies and roles, the labor shortages and the high turnover that impacts their productivity and training costs and service levels. Some of your employees that have been there for 30 years may be training new employees every 3 to 6 months, and that's taking away from your efficiencies. Strategies for your people optimization. We want to optimize the workforce management. So align labor needs with projected order volumes. This will coordinate with sales, planning, and scheduling so that we are looking at these different areas. Standard operating procedures and training. It's just about consistent execution. We don't want to have one employee who's doing a process one way because that's how they learned, while not following our standard operating procedure for the most efficient process. What we really need to focus on is ongoing and regular training, not just initial onboarding. We can always learn more, and everybody can learn, no matter how long you've been at an organization. And then leadership development is functional areas. So we want to empower employees to grow within our organization. So one, they'll stay, but also that gives them more ownership of the processes that they're working towards. And then we also want to foster a culture of continuous improvement. So empowering our associates to identify improvements. We want our employees to come to us and say, hey, I don't think that this is very efficient. I could do it this way. What do you think? Having our employees engage with us in that manner is paramount to success as an organization because they know what's going on within the process. We want to have structured opportunities for frontline feedback. And then we also want to be able to reward that feedback and build ownership, like I was talking about earlier. How do we reward our employees for bringing us inefficiencies within our process? So streamlining efficiency. So what are our processes? So we talked about the people, now processes. This dictates how workflows. Optimized processes lead to maximized efficiency, throughput, and cost effectiveness. Having an end-to-end evaluation, so looking at your receiving, your put away, picking, packing, shipping, returns, inventory control, bin management. It allows us to take a look at what those processes are today and how we can optimize them in the future. Because if we only focus on one process, it's all interconnected. We need to have that full picture. We want to be able to pinpoint the inefficiencies and their root causes. So I'm taking unnecessary steps to do my picking route. So I'm going up one aisle, back down, over to the right, to the left. I'm adding unnecessary steps within my warehouse where it could be more efficient from a route optimization perspective. And then we also want to do redundant checks as well. So making sure that tasks are being done and nobody's duplicating efforts within the warehouse. We want to be able to leverage our real world operational data. And this is where D365 comes in. We have so much data at our fingertips within the Dynamics application and inventory and forecasting and the financials. We really want to be able to have that optimization without even thinking about it. So we want to be able to utilize those analytical tools to identify and prioritize improvement opportunities. And with the new AI agents coming in, we can reduce some of those labor needs within the organization to optimize day-to-day processes that we feel comfortable can be run from an automated perspective. Looking at the warehouse layout, we want to see where the process areas are for improvement. So within receiving and put away, we want to take a look at layout changes for a better flow, improved vendor compliance, so advanced shipping notices, ASNs, and proper labeling. Within the directed put away and zoning, we don't want it to just be any spot, but we want it to be the optimal spot based on rules, velocity, size, special handling, and pick density. It's usually an underutilized feature, and it's either not set up today or not maintained for changing the product profiles. These are areas that we can really focus on. Within the picking and replenishments, we want to optimize our picking methods. So discrete, batch, wave, cluster, slotting strategies, which is velocity-based or fixed to reduce travel. We want to take a look at these areas where we can actually optimize everything. And then within the inventory control, we want to take a look at cycle counting, significant feature not always leveraged. We want to automate some of these processes. We want to optimize our physical inventories and bin management. And then, of course, we want to have Lean Six Sigma principles to eliminate waste, motion, waiting, overprocessing defects, etc. So having streamlined processes are gold. An end-to-end analysis uncovers those root efficiencies, and it boosts throughput by about 25%. Add on the D365 improvements, and we could see that number come up to help with the technology needs. So processes are key in this. And of course, processes are only as strong as the people that we have in the work. Accelerate our D365 WMS. So, and I apologize, I may have missed one slide. So how do we modernize our operations? D365 WMS helps companies truly reimagine and modernize their warehouse. A lot of functionalities within WMS that are often missed opportunities: inbound and outbound operations, streamlining the process from ASN receipt to systemic trailer verification, directed put away and zoning, going beyond base logic, leveraging advanced tools to truly optimize storage. A lot of people only do simple rules and kind of stop, and it misses significant density gains. System-driven replenishment. This isn't just a report, but automated process that triggers replenishments based on real-time demand and inventory levels. Often we find that our clients still have some sort of manual intervention, and it still dominates that process. Looking at optimized picking, we want to be able to explore what D365 offers between cluster picking, batch picking, especially if we're looking at e-commerce, wave picking, dynamic pick sequencing. We want to make sure it's optimized towards your organization and you're not just doing a process that you've done for 30 plus years. And then the cycle counting, so non-disruptive inventory and accuracy improvements. A lot of times we still see customers doing annual physical inventories where they stop their entire operations. We want to get away from that, and we want to have it more than just once a year. We want to have that real-time data that we were talking about. And then warehouse implementation, so like our tasks workspace, really good for optimization post go live. It simplifies your advanced warehousing management by centralizing your project tasks. This enables the creation and tracking, fostering collaboration between different departments, and providing real-time visibility into the ERP implementation progress. A lot of times we see this ignored after the initial implementation, but we always want to strive for that continuous improvement in managing the change. We always like to highlight D365 isn't just software, it's your strategic enabler. So we want to unlock those underused features that we're talking about to execute faster operations. This is where we've seen that 99.9% accuracy from an inventory perspective, raising by 0.3% from the average, and allows us to optimize our business processes. And we can always take this further as well with the new AI forecasting tools and seamless integrations. We can really drive our warehouse into the future. We're looking at Copilot reducing risks and enhancing decisions within our organization for Microsoft. Right now, it's looking about a 15 to 30% inventory optimization percentage. And we want to make sure that we're taking AI and the tools in a responsible way and driving ourselves into the future, because it's an ever-changing landscape, and we want to be able to take advantage of all the features as soon as they're available. Some of the areas around AI and machine learning, so demand forecasting and planning. We have AI for accurate predictions, optimizing your inventory replenishment. Copilot is really providing the insights onto real-time production data, detect scheduling conflicts with some of our workers, automate our supplier communication, and this really offers a detailed inventory insights as well. And then, of course, we have the integration side. So as I was talking about earlier, we go a little bit beyond just Dynamics and the Microsoft application, but how do we handle material handling equipment, MHE, robotics, automated robots, drones, automated storage and retrieval systems? We have those natural integration points from the Invista and the Microsoft side of things to enhance and automate our warehouses. This allows Dynamics to become the orchestrator, sending tasks back and forth and receiving additional data to enhance our operations. A lot of companies actually have automation, but they struggle with the deep integration into WMS logic, and we help optimize that within Dynamics. And then, of course, something that everybody knows about is seamless integration with O365 and M365, and the unified platform of Microsoft allows us to expand our technology platform and landscape throughout the entire organization. So how do we connect it? So as I said, we cannot focus on just one pillar. So how does the holistic approach look like? The greatest advantage is when people, process, and technology work in harmony. As I mentioned before, a lot of times organizations only focus on one specific area, whether it's their people or their processes or their technology, and never together looking at it like a holistic picture. This is a comprehensive assessment of identifying gaps not in just one area. So how are our processes optimized? How are people working? How is our technology stack looking from a holistic picture? We're not just here to blame people or try and poke holes in areas. It's really about just understanding, are people not trained on a new D365 process? Or is Dynamics not enabled to configure an optimal approach? We want to take a look from a holistic perspective. Technology enables our processes by automating the manual processes. Directed put away, validation scans for inventory movements, WMS-driven cycle counting programs, and it really helps us increase our inventory accuracy and reduce the human errors that we see a lot within the people. Looking at how processes empower our people, streamlined and standardized processes supported by the technology, it reduces the ambiguity and reduces the human error as well, allowing our staff to focus on higher value activities, problem solving, continuous improvement, instead of the mundane error-prone tasks. This allows us to provide data for better labor planning and kind of helps us streamline our operations when we have the right processes, our people are executing them in the same way. And then looking at data-driven decision-making, so closing the loop. D365 WMS and supply chain management generate a lot of data on inventory. Inbound, outbound operations, we want to have that holistic data picture. When we take a look at this data from tools like Power BI, AI analytics, we can help identify where some of those ineffective processes are, what our trends look like, and then how we can optimize with the different opportunities within the organization. And of course, we need to train our teams to use this data to foster continuous improvement. So when all put together, what does this lead to from an organization perspective? We're looking at reduced costs, so lowering your labor costs, decreased inventory holding, and reduced transportation. We're looking at increasing our efficiency and productivity, so having the automated workflows, optimized layouts leads to the higher throughput. With improved accuracy, we have enhanced picking, shipping, and inventory accuracy with fewer errors and chargebacks. And then we also have enhanced visibility, so having real-time insights into our inventory levels, order status, and overall supply chain performance. That leads to greater flexibility and adaptability, ability to adjust our changing demands, handle growth, and shift in the marketplace as well. And then, of course, it comes down to our end consumers, having higher customer satisfaction with timely and accurate order fulfillment. It leads to customers coming back to us more often. So when we put everything together, we see those benefits by tenfold, and it really does help organizations drive into the future. So the warehouse optimization assessment, I'm going to go a little bit into detail of how we operate this assessment, and then I'll give the real world example of one of our clients. So we want to create this roadmap of the warehouse triad. So each pillar must be strong and in sync with the other. If any pillar is neglected, then we'll see those blind spots. When we look at the challenges today of the labor shortages, organizations being under pressure to increase their throughput and reduce costs, with technology evolving rapidly, we have a lot of warehouses that are operating below peak efficiency. And it's simply due to legacy habits or lack of awareness of what their systems can do. So the warehouse triad framework addresses these gaps by ensuring skilled people execute optimized processes backed by the right technology. We're not just going to force processes based on how D365 works or what we've seen at each other clients. We'll take that into consideration, but every organization is different. Focusing on one pillar in isolation yields limited gains. So for example, adding new automation or technology alone may speed up a task, but if workers aren't trained on the workflow, then the process is flawed. The improvement stalls and real world experience shows the biggest wins come from synchronized enhancements across all three pillars. So I add in the new technology, the automation, robotics. It speeds up the task, and my people are fully trained on it so they understand how to execute those tasks. And from a process workflow perspective, we're actually driving the efficiencies. So when it's all put together, we don't have blind spots and we can actually improve our warehouse efficiencies. So what is the operations assessment? We're really looking at an end-to-end evaluation of your people process technology. So how are my people operating in the warehouse? What processes are they executing in the warehouse? And what is their interaction with different technology stacks? When we take a look at the entire end-to-end process, we can see inefficiencies and where there's non-value add processes, gaps, underutilized system features, where our people may be not optimized. It provides a clear picture of what your current operations are and your performance, and allows us to make recommendations for actionable improvements across the entire warehouse. Like I said, I'm going to show you some examples of what was done at a client of ours in a few slides here. So what does it entail? We're doing a detailed analysis of your workflows and process bottlenecks. So understanding what's happening within your environments, where you're having pain points, where you see the most efficiencies within your organization. And then we'll evaluate all of the technology utilization, especially if D365 WMS is enabled, and whether or not you need to go to advanced warehouse management from Microsoft as well. We'll take a look at your workforce skills. So what training is in place today? How are they engaging throughout the entire process? What's their sentiment about their job and what they're doing? And this will allow us to do quick wins and strategic improvement roadmap where we can say, okay, if we do this in the next month or two, we'll see X amount of percentage gain. And then we can prioritize based on organization needs and what's most important to you. And of course, we're quantifying that potential ROI. We're not just making up numbers. This comes from detailed processes and detailed analysis from our supply chain team. So what it allows you to have is the quick wins and the strategic roadmap. So we see where your root causes and your underutilized processes are, and we can quantify the return on investment for your organization. This will allow you to actually justify, hey, if I spend X amount of money today, this is the percentage increase that I will see in the next 6 to 12 to 18 to 24 months. And that's what the benefits of the operations assessment is. It shows you benchmarking and best practices against competitors of yours, and improves your kind of cross-functional alignment. So bringing departments together of IT, operations, HR, and finance, making sure that we're all interacting in the same way. And I do want to highlight, right? It's not about pointing out faults. It's really about uncovering hidden opportunities and root causes. A lot of times we're firefighting with, tasks that are popping up here, there, that we don't see, and it's very reactive. We want to bring it to a very proactive approach where we're actually seeing the problems in the future and addressing them before they actually occur. And this really comes from that warehouse assessment. So how does D365 enhance your warehouse operations? As a technology enabler, it's kind of your backbone, right? It's the decision maker. It's holding all of the data. It's allowing you to advance your operations. A lot of companies are only tapping into the fraction of D365's potential, especially when we look at the WMS features. Like I said before, roughly 90% of features are often not utilized in most implementations. And we want to make sure that you're unlocking the full feature set and then integrating the people and the processes so that D365 becomes that multiplier for efficiency and accuracy. Like I said, focusing only on technology will only get you so far. People and processes are necessary to drive the real world impact that you're going to see in this customer case study here. So what does this look like, and what does a warehouse operations assessment entail? A little bit of background. One of our clients is a sporting goods manufacturer. They've got about a 200,000 square foot distribution center and over 4,000 SKUs across their brands. They are B2B and B2C business, and they're utilizing D365 finance and supply chain with WMS as the system of record. They are currently not utilizing advanced warehousing, but we did find that there are some advantages for them to move to advanced warehousing. They are experiencing bottlenecks around their people process technology and wanted to fully leverage their tools. And that's why they engaged in Vista. What were the key findings that we saw? So their processes were not system driven. So day-to-day warehouse activities were highly manual and not directed by the system. There is no system driven task management for put away, picking, etc. Instead, workers decided what to do based on experience. And this led to a lot of inconsistency and reliance on memory. Leading into tribal knowledge dependency, operations really relied heavily on that tribal knowledge of longtime associates. For instance, only experienced employees knew where certain products were stashed or which orders to prioritize. Newer rotating staff had a steep learning curve because processes were not standardized or guided by D365. They also had poor inventory location management. Inventory was only tracked at a bay level, not a bin level, and each bay held about 2 to 10 different SKUs together. And this made it time consuming to find items, and pickers often searched through a bay to locate the right product. It also increased the chance of errors, so putting away in the wrong spot, since the system wasn't actually verifying the bin locations. They also had no real-time visibility, so they had no scanning within their warehouse or mobile devices. So there was no barcode scanning, no mobile devices on the floor, and inventory moves and picks were recorded on paper and later entered into D365 at a standardized desk or pack station. This introduced a lot of delays and errors. And for example, an item could be physically moved but not actually exist in the system until hours later, which caused a lot of confusion or double handling within the warehouse. A lot of system workarounds, because we were underutilizing the WMS features, were very manual. So a lot of the associates had developed ad hoc steps outside of the system to get things done and make sure that their job was done. So tracking some stock levels in spreadsheets, manually consolidating orders for picking. And these bypasses meant that the single source of truth, D365, was not always up to date. And opportunities for automation were missed. And then we also saw a lot of manual data entry and updates. I'm sure that you can kind of see some of this translating here. Inventory transfers and order picks were done on the floor, were logged on paper, then manually updated into D365 by office staff. Besides just wasting labor time, this double entry led to data lags. The assessment time study showed an average of about 15-minute delay per inbound receipt due to after the fact system entry. A delay that compounds when you consider dozens of receipts and hundreds of order lines daily. So a lot of areas that we just uncovered with a key assessment. So what were the solutions that we implemented? So system-directed workflows, I'm going to go into detail on each of these. We deployed mobile scanning. We had inventory reorganization or slotting, and then we optimized their processes with D365 capabilities. And then finally, the training and change management within the organization. So when I talk about system-directed replenishments, I'm really looking at enabling D365's advanced warehouse module functionalities so that our system is actually driving the tasks. For example, we set up directed put away rules. Instead of forklift drivers deciding where to store each pallet, the tribal knowledge, D365 now suggests an optimal location based on SKU, size, and zoning rules. Likewise, we proposed using system-directed picking waves. So D365 grouping orders and creating pick tasks that workers follow on handhelds. And this ensured more of a consistent and efficient task flow and less idle or redundant labor. Looking at systemic replenishment, we also advised using D365's automatic replenishment for picking locations. Kanban levels were set so when a forward pick bin is running low, D365 created a task to refill it from bulk storage. And this proactive approach versus waiting until it's empty and someone notices really helped keep the operations flowing. So what were some of the benefits that we saw by aligning these people process technologies? Reduced stockouts, so we improved our order fill rates and customer satisfaction by keeping pick bins stocked. We improved our labor efficiency, so minimalizing idle time and forklift travel throughout the automated task generation. We saw faster order fulfillment, so supporting uninterrupted wave and cluster picking for high volume throughput. And then we saw that real-time visibility and control, where we enabled proactive inventory management and faster response to demand shifts. The next area that we kind of focused was that mobile scanning. So we deployed mobile scanning, which was RF devices at every stage. We configured D365's mobile device menu for receiving, put away, picking, packing, and other processes, and helped our client roll out Zebra handheld devices to the team. So now workers can scan pallet IDs, locations, and products in real time. This eliminated those old paper logs that we were talking about, and the benefit was twofold. Inventory records updated instantly in D365, and then the system can validate each action. For example, warning if a wrong location is scanned. We also implemented license plate labels. So LPNs, we set up D365 to generate those pallet license plate numbers and barcoded labels at receiving. Now, as cases are unloaded, staff create an LPN label for each pallet, scan it, and then the system knows the pallet's coming instantly. So we saw a lot of benefits from aligning the Warehouse Triad here of reducing our onboarding time by over 50%. Not having to rely on that tribal knowledge and having mobile devices really helped drive the training time. We eliminated over 15 minutes of manual work per inbound receipt. And we also had faster order cycle times with less errors by utilizing these devices. The other area was inventory slotting. So and some may call it inventory reorganization or slotting. So we suggested moving from the mixed SKU bay storage to a one SKU location system for active picks. During the assessment, we mapped out a new layout zoning fast, medium, and slow movers. Fast movers would get dedicated slots and forward pick areas. We also recommended creating clearly labeled bin locations and addresses. We updated these in D365, and this meant that reslotting means pickers no longer hunt through multiple SKUs in one area. Each location had that one specific item instead of 2 to 10 within one bin location. Combining this with the scanning, the change improves our pick accuracy and speed. We also did wave and cluster picking. So for order picking, we configured cluster picking for small e-com orders, allowing one worker to fulfill multiple orders in one trip by utilizing a pick cart with bins. D365 now dynamically batches single line orders, ship alone items, so they can be packed together rather than one by one. And this greatly reduced the travel time per order. So what did we see from a benefit perspective? Reduced picker search time. So one SKU per location eliminated the need to hunt through mixed bins, which saved time and reduced worker frustration, as I'm sure that you can imagine. Faster throughput. So our fast movers were slotted in the forward picking zones, which shortened travel paths and increased pick rates. We saw improved accuracy. So with the clear bin labeling and scanning validation, we reduced our mispicks and inventory discrepancies. And then we also simplified our training. Having a logical layout and dedicated locations made it easier for new employees to pick up on these processes and learn the warehouse more quickly. Then we also optimized our processes with D365 capabilities. So some areas that were underutilized, underused D365, they were turned on but not actually utilized. The wave and cluster picking that we were talking about for order picking, the cluster picking for small e-com orders, we talked about that in the last one. The systemic replenishment, advising the automatic replenishment for picking location, Kanban levels set from a forward picking bin, and D365 creates that task to refill it from bulk storage. The proactive approach versus waiting on it's empty until being done. So all of these processes together, again, reduced travel times, allowed for better resource utilization, allowed for more orders picked per hour, and then had an overall inventory optimization. So putting all of the people, process, and technology into D365 allowed us to realize a lot of these changes. And then, of course, we also had the training and change management. This is a very under talked about feature, change management and training within our organization. We want to make sure that our people are constantly learning and that they're bought into the processes. So we held a number of training sessions to get our clients team comfortable with the new tools and processes. This was a big cultural change for them because they actually had to trust the system. Previously, it was all that paper-based. They knew that they could find that piece of paper. So we worked with supervisors to emphasize the system is now this source of truth and scan everything. This will allow you to follow D365's prompts and let it handle the allocation and planning. We also established new standard operating procedures. For example, a standard receiving process using the mobile app, a standard for clustering orders on pick carts, and daily cycle count routines. And by aligning our staff on these best practices and showing them the why, less walking, no manual data entry, other areas, the buy-in actually increased with the people process technology. So we saw better onboarding, smoother shift transitions, higher data accuracy, inventory confidence. We saw higher productivity with less rework and walking, and stronger cross-team alignment. Having that buy-in really allowed us to propel the warehouse operations to the future. Overall, what did we see? Labor savings. We saw about 20 to 30% in labor savings. We saw throughput and efficiency gains. We got to that 99.9% accuracy, where they were at the 99.6% accuracy range. And all of this was from D365. We saw the inventory accuracy increase and faster onboarding and training, which allowed workers to operate in a more efficient manner. And then we also took a look at the underutilized D365 features that they weren't being utilized, but you've already paid for and you already own. So how can we optimize your Dynamics environment? And then how can we drive that cross-departmental alignment, right? We want everybody working together. So our key takeaways from this presentation, the Warehouse Triad. Modern supply chain demands a highly interconnected approach to the people, process, and technology. That Warehouse Triad is so important for our organization to succeed and realize our return on investment and gains as an organization. What you may not realize is D365 is an incredibly powerful platform with vast and often untapped potential in warehouse management. Like I said, about 90% of features are often not utilized in a WMS or AWMS implementation. And those are features that you already have access to. They're just not set up. And we want to operate with efficiencies. We need to optimize those processes in D365. And then a proactive warehouse operations assessment like we did for the sporting goods manufacturer is the most effective way to unlock this potential. It identifies your bottlenecks and ensures your D365 investment is delivering maximum value and that you're sending your warehouse operations into the future. So with that, I want to say thank you for your time today. If you have any questions, my name is Greg Pastorello. This is my contact information. You can send me an email, send me a text, shoot me a call, and looking forward to connecting with you all in the future. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Greg. And thanks to everyone in the audience for your time and attention. As I mentioned at the start, please do enter any questions you're still holding on to into the questions block, or obviously reach out to Greg directly. But with that, we will conclude today's event. Have a good day, everyone.